Hi everyone, welcome to a Stamping to Share video. This is Kate Kalthoff and I'm excited to share with you a card today that I created mostly from scraps, and it was kind of a happy accident. This is the card, and I actually had some pieces left that look like this because I was cutting these branches for another project that I was working on, and then I went ahead and I just placed it on a piece of cherry cobbler. And the next thing you know, I was thinking, oh my goodness, this should be a card. And so this is what I came up with, and it's a really pretty card. On the inside it says from the heart, so it could be a really nice sympathy card. And I used our stitch satin ribbon in basic gray, but for the card that I'm going to create for you today, I am actually going to use our shimmer ribbon, which is something that you can get as a celebration item, and it's a 3-pack, so I'll show you that in just a minute. But first, let's go ahead and look at the stamp set. We are using the Petal Palette Bundle from the Occasions 2018 Stampin' Up! Catalog, and here is the stamp set. It's huge. It's 2 cases. There's one case that just has a bunch of sentiments and some pretty little dots down here, and then the other stamp case has some beautiful kind of watercolor looking lines. And then of course it also comes with some petals and more thinlits, and some of these thinlits actually coordinate with the items in the stamp set, and others are meant to be accents on your cards. So we're going to set this aside. I didn't actually have everything in that thinlit picture because I have some on my Big Shot machine. So again, this is the card we are aiming to replicate. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that we're going to do is use a piece of smoky slate paper for our base. This is cut at 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored at 5 1/2. And I'm just going to go ahead, fold along the score line, and I'm going to use my bone folder to put a good press in here. And then the next thing that we're going to do is our stamping for the inside of the card. So our inside panel is 4 by 5 1/4, and we're going to take some smoky slate ink, and then I have this branch with the leaves on from the Petal Palette stamp set, and we're just going to stamp this right here. And then the next thing I'm going to do is bring my cherry cobbler ink pad into the picture here, and we're going to stamp that chickadee in cherry cobbler and put that right here on the branch, and that looks perfect. Then we're going to add from the heart, so we'll just ink that up and we will set this right here, and the inside panel is complete. Isn't that pretty? So let me go ahead and grab some snail, and we'll just flip this over, add the snail along a line at the top of this panel, and then we'll set this onto the inside panel of our card, making sure our borders are nice and even. Now we'll set this aside for just a minute because I want to show you what we're doing next. We are going to cut out some branches on a 3 5/8 inch by 4 inch piece of basic gray. Now when I was creating this card, let me remind you what the card looked like. I was actually cutting out some scraps of basic gray that look like this, and I was mostly going after these branches here, and I didn't care which direction they were. I was just trying to get as many branches on my scraps of basic gray as I could. And so what I did to make sure my branches were adhering to the card really well is I went ahead and I used some of our Sizzix multi-purpose sheets, and these can be purchased from our Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog, and I just cut it to size, and then you peel off the liner, you flip it around, and you just put it right there onto your cardstock piece. And then when you are making your cutouts, you actually will be putting your adhesive right on the cutout, which is great for those skinny little cutouts that you don't want to mess around with when it comes to gluing them on. And so I also took a piece of scrap Whisper White, and then I inked up that bird in cherry cobbler again and just stamped that on a piece of scrap paper in Whisper White. Then I went to the Big Shot machine, and let me show you what I did here. So I started with the magnetic platform, then I have my prepared piece of basic gray paper, and then of course the little birdie cutout on a piece of scrap, and then I went ahead and I put my second cut plate over the top, ran it through the Big Shot machine, and then let me show you what this all looks like. So I can pull out my little chickadee here. He's so cute. And then let me show you what I did here. So here's that branch that I was talking about, and the first cut that I ran through the Big Shot machine was on the front side. And I wanted to make sure that this particular cutout was pretty close to this right side here. And then I flipped it around and made a second cutout, again making sure that this side here was pretty close to the side. And then all I have to do is pull out these branches, and I will do that kind of gently because I want to keep everything intact. So there's one, and I can use that on another project. So I'm going to set that aside. And then here is my second branch. And again, I'm being kind of gentle with this because I don't want anything to break here. And there we go. So we are left with the scrap, and the scrap is actually what we're going to use on our card. So it looks like this. And then let me get this out of the way so we can continue here. So the next panel that we're going to need is a piece of cherry cobbler, and this is 4 by 5 1/4. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that self-adhesive sheet back here, this Sizzix self-adhesive sheet. And when I remove that, that actually will expose the adhesive. So let me take this all off. And it's pretty sticky, so I'm kind of trying to be careful here. And what I want to do is I want to line this up so that the top, the bottom, and the right side are nice and even. Because I pretty much only get one shot with this. If it's not even going on, you cannot bring it up. So let me pull this away here with my finger, and we're just going to gently press this into place. And there we go. So now it's on our card and it's all stuck down. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put our ribbon wrap on here on the left side. So what I'm using for this card is shimmer ribbon. So this is something that you can get with a $50 purchase from Stampin' Up. So of course, if you decide to purchase the Petal palette and want to use this gray shimmer ribbon, you'd get the shimmer ribbon as a freebie. So it also comes in Calypso Coral, and it comes in our Bermuda Bay. And they're all slightly different sizes. The gray ribbon is going to be 1/4 inch, so that's what we're going to be using. I'm going to trim it just a little bit bigger than the card here. So about that big, and then I am going to flip those edges over and secure that with some Scotch tape. There we go. Now we want to go ahead and add a little bow here. Whoops, I'm at the very end of my ribbon, as you can see. And I'm just going to tie this on. And we're just doing a tie on, so we'll just tie this on. And then we can kind of move it right where we want it, and we'll just trim this so it looks nice and pretty. And I love the way that shimmer looks. It just adds a little bit of sparkle to your card. Now we are going to put this on the front panel of our Smoky Slate card base. And to do that, we're just going to go ahead and use multi-purpose liquid glue. And so just make a nice border of glue. Don't get sloppy like I did, but do a nice border so you have nice clean edges. I can see I've got a little seepage there because I got a little reckless. Okay, so let me grab a Kleenex and I'll wipe that up. There we go. And with the glue, it's kind of nice because you've got a little bit of a wiggle room option here, so we can make sure that's nice and centered. The next thing we're going to do is add this little birdie, and our card will be complete. So we're going to put that on with a dimensional, and we'll just stick a dimensional here right in the center of the bird, and then we're going to put him about right here, sitting on a branch. There we go. So there is our card, and it's so cute. So this is the one I've just done, and here is the one I had done in advance. So thank you so much for joining me today. I truly appreciate you. If you'd like to place a product order, be sure to visit my blog at www.stampingtoshare.com, and there will be links there for you to place product orders. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.